Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, a podcast created to allow a space for open, honest and vulnerable conversations with real people, all over a beautiful cup of coffee. We're here in my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy. Christian, hiya. Thanks for coming on, Flat Whites and Insights, kicking off Series 2. Thanks for reaching out as well. It was really cool when I put this together, first had this idea. Obviously I reached out, found a few guests, but as the series evolved, people have reached out wanting to come on. You're one of those and I really appreciate that. But for those who don't know you, you're right to give a brief introduction to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, probably most known recently as the Milton manager. But before that, sort of the head coach of Precision. So the last 5 years, sort of been there with Craig and Amy and the rest of them.
Yeah.
The ones that are probably known to the Didcot lads. But yeah, been there for the last 5 years, but actually left now. But still, still some involved with a lot of the lads from Milton. But yeah, probably most known for my antics on the sideline at Milton, to be fair. But yeah.
Yeah, certainly. So, and I think we wouldn't mention Milton without obviously promotion last year, which was, I think, your first year in charge as well?
First year as a manager, yeah.
First year as a manager, so 100% promotion records. So
yeah,
it's not bad.
Not a bad year. I think when people ask me, you enjoy management, it's probably quite hard to answer that correctly at the moment because I've always just had the best side of it.
So I mean, even the start of this season, you've gone up a step and already doing well. So
yeah,
I guess seeing that side of management there, obviously don't wish it upon you, but there will be times when obviously it's not all plain sailing. But
yeah, no, exactly. I think years to come if I stay in this type of role, I think I will have some hard times, but at the moment I'm enjoying it. I actually plan to take a year out of football and playing completely, and then this job come along and threw my name in the hat, and here we are 2 years later.
Amazing. No, it's great, and obviously with this starting this season as well, Cappuccino, I kind of got involved a little bit more at Milton, got the banner up there. Obviously spoke to Tim, who does a lot of the media side of the club, so as much as most of my time I find myself at Didcot, it's great that Milton are another club who are looking to raise mental health awareness in South Oxfordshire. We had like the friendly, both clubs kind of got involved, got the Restore banner, so I've really enjoyed working with the club that side as well. But so you mentioned football, obviously is where you're most known, so has football always been a passion for you, always been something that you've loved growing up? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Sort of played sort of in the academy set up at Oxford, growing up, and then when that didn't work out, I went to Oxford City, did the college course there, and that's sort of where I met, Craig and Amy, and couldn't get rid of me since, basically. So always been involved in football, always played in goal and loved it. Took a year out of playing when I moved abroad to China, and then that's sort of where my sort of coaching journey began. When I went abroad, and so all my main jobs have sort of all been football based. I just love it, basically.
Amazing. No, I love that, and that's really cool. I didn't even know that you'd gone out to China, to be fair. So that's where coaching all started.
Yeah, Craig actually got me the job. I was roofing, and I sent a message to him. I can't do this no more. I can't do these early mornings, and coaching on the roof, going on the roofs and that. And he was like, I can get you a job in China, but you won't take it. And as you know, I hate being told I can't do something. So I did it. Went to China for a couple of years. And then only came back actually to start Precision with Craig and Amy. And Craig come through his idea about starting his own academy. And who would have thought 5 years later it would be what it is now. To this day.
You look at who's come out of there. Even now, I think. I mean, since I've been involved at Didcot, Precision obviously. It's only the last 2-3 years I've been involved, so Precision is I've always known it.
Yeah.
So it's actually really cool, even hearing it's only like 5 years old. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Myself, all these things, because you see the talent, or you just have to look at Milton, even some of the guys at Abingdon, I think.
Yeah.
Wallingford, some of them probably ended up at Kidlington, like the local area and the teams. And it's probably no coincidence that you see both Didcot and Milton getting promotions last year. And is there a lot of young talent coming through from this academy? And then you see Jordan Thomas has gone to Bath City.
Yeah.
Hedgie and Jam have both gone to Salisbury. They're getting moves. And
I mean, yeah, when you mention all those names, I think, we started with, 12, 13, lads at that point, and, Jam was in there, and, Harley and Sturge and Nem and, others, and, if you look well, they're all playing now, and I think 70% of them, 80% of them are still working there. So I think,
which is awesome. They want to give back as well.
Yeah, and I think we've now got over there. There's a girls' academy going on, and under 23s program, and you look at the core of it, and it's all those lads that we started with, and I think it just sort of shows, how good the academy is, and how far it's come, and then obviously linking up with Milton through myself and Heapy and Craig over at Didcot.
Yeah,
that was why I was keen at the beginning of this year to get that sort of link back between the clubs.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess in that bracket we've got to mention North Lee as well, because obviously they
do
a lot with North Lee as well. We also had success and got up to step 3. I think it was the first time.
Yeah.
And now doing really well again, step 4. So the whole area seems to be, the football's benefiting from those talents coming through.
Yeah.
And for yourself, even like us having that, and as you said, almost me mentioning those names, is that one of the most rewarding things, I guess, about getting involved at an academy level, and now even as a manager, I guess, giving young players chances? It's like seeing people go. You've probably seen them grow up from kids to playing.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it was, I was 22 and I sort of went over there, started it with Craig, and I think Harley and that at that point were 18, so I was still quite close, to the age, so to sort of have that, it was a challenge, but I think it sort of created, we became mates as well, and we all, before I left, we all worked together, and but I think that's the most rewarding thing, seeing people like those boys, not just where they are in the football sort of term things, but just where they are in life. They're all full-time jobs there. I think Harry's doing the head of degree. I think Harley's doing the English and maths, and helping out with the whole, leading the whole academy. So I think that's just class, and I think it's just a credit to what we created when we started, and to the the boys and now the girls who do it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's just really good for the area, and as you say, something to be proud of. But obviously, it doesn't show any signs of stopping as well. But you mentioned there you're 22 when you went out to China, so that makes you what are you now, late 20s?
I'm 27, yeah.
27.
27.
So done a lot. Don't say getting on. I'm 29. Don't say. No, yeah. So to have done that's a lot that you've achieved in a young age, from like starting that at 22, the coaching, and to now be a manager as well. I don't know, but you must be one of the youngest managers probably in that league. That setup.
Yeah. I mean, I get it a lot. Why you're not playing? It's too young to be a manager, and things like that. It's been the 5 years, and I have to give most of my credit for my coaching is through Precision, and before that when I was in Shanghai. But I think the timing was just right. I wasn't enjoying playing. I was at Kidlington, and I think I got a bit more opinionated because I got into the coaching. So playing in goal, I felt like I saw things a bit differently. I think as a goalkeeper, you see the whole pitch, don't you? Right, and I just sort of fell out of love with it after COVID, and then I was going to take a year out, and this job come up, and I think Craig messaged me like, you should apply for it. I was like, I'm not ready, don't want to be a manager yet. Maybe one day. I threw my name in the hat, and it came through, and I didn't really think about the age thing. I kind of just, the Precision stuff, it just sort of happened, and we got where we are. And
no, definitely. I guess it's that old ad, like it's that if you're good enough, like you're old enough or whatever. That's probably the wrong thing.
But
like they were saying football, or like there's no reason why that age should be a barrier. It's about your skill, it's about your knowledge, it's about relationships with players and stuff. Exactly. More and more in football and in life, I guess that man management side of it is becoming a thing. I mean, I recently even watched like the Beckham documentary. I don't know if you've seen any of that. Yeah. And when they talk about obviously like the manager kind of throwing him under the bus a little bit, or just people saying that mental health wasn't really a thing at that point. So I guess now football has changed. It's beginning to change. I guess for yourself, and to ask it like as a manager side of thing, Is that almost, how have you found that part of the role? In terms of, obviously there's the tactical side, there's the on-pitch, but
Yeah.
how do you find that other side of it?
I think man management is the biggest skill. And by no means have I completely cracked it, but your players before anything just need to be able to play for you and want to play for you.
Yeah.
As the person you are, and I think what summed up for me was the heartbreaking game in the playoff final.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
we're 2-0 up, and I think tactically we got it correct and we were spot on, and they had brought on a few step 3 players, which it is what it is, and if you saw that the last 15 minutes was not about tactics at all.
It's about who wants it.
Yeah, I said to the boys, my biggest compliment is I'm just begging them and screaming at them to just keep running and working, and they do it, and like that's nothing to do with with tactics or anything like that. I think what the biggest challenge for me is my best mates play for me. Some are older, and 18% of the boys that play for me I've played with.
So it's that changing relationship from mate, teammate to gaffer to manager.
Yeah.
I know, or even being a Wickham fan, I know when Gareth Ainsworth was at Wickham, and he spoke about that a lot, how he had to change it, and then people address him as mate. People called him like mate or called him Gav. Now they get to call him gaffer. So I don't know if that's something you've done, or you keep it a bit more like they can just call you, keep it a bit more informal. But I guess there's pros and cons to that. Maybe there's that respect that they know you, because I think it can be difficult sometimes for players maybe to feel that a manager doesn't really know who they are.
Yeah.
So it feels like you got that. But I guess it's sometimes there's those boundaries and trying to keep it.
I mean, I'd like to feel I gained some respect through when I played with a lot of them, so they knew what I was about. They knew I wanted to win. They knew I'd been at Precision, but they never see me as a manager. It's that what non-league's like. You're not paying these lads enough money to control their lives, and they love a beer, and and that's the culture. So it's that fine line between when we're in, we're bang on it, we're serious, we treat it, we try and treat it as professionally as we can at this level, but we still will have a laugh, and we'll have a team's themes and things like that.
That's you've got to keep the people, as you say, people should want to be there, want to be a part of the squad, and want to play.
Exactly.
And that's half the challenge, isn't it, really? So no, awesome. So it's a bit about what you do. Obviously managing Milton very successfully so far. I want to know a bit more about maybe like who you are a little bit, and the kind of maybe why you wanted to come on this podcast, and maybe had a bit of a story to share, if you want to kind of expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, no, I think so a lot of people started to know now, but basically I've been addicted to gambling for well, probably since I was 17, I guess, when it now comes back to it. But it starts with little bits of gambling, and it just built up. But in the last year, probably was the worst year of my life. Weirdly, with the best year of my life in football.
Okay.
So while that was all going on, so I haven't gambled now since December the 26th last year. Okay. So coming up to a year. And I just think for me, my biggest way of getting over it and staying on top of it is talking about it.
Yes.
And with mental health and me doing November this month, I thought, well, no better time. That I'm ready in my life to talk about it a bit more, and and in a month where mental health, I think it's getting bigger now. Like you said, you're an advocate for it as well, and I think hopefully it's not just November. It's the only month that brings it out, but it's a great cause.
It starts the conversation. I think that sometimes when people sometimes say about organisations, or it's just because it's this month or this, but if it starts a conversation that wasn't happening before, it's a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
And if it raises a bit of awareness, and no, thanks for coming on and talking about that. And I kind of had a bit of an idea about that. I didn't realise it was maybe still quite a recent thing.
Yeah.
So as you said, even up to like last year, Christmas. In terms of the talking about it, when did you realise it was kind of having a negative impact on your life, kind of thing? So we're getting something switched up. It's got deep, but just in terms of, because a lot of people, and I guess quite high profile ones at the moment, like Ivan Toney, Sandro Tonali, like in football, there's so much advertising it, and being in that football environment
Yeah.
is maybe being a bit of a factor.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, for me, like, it's now since, sort of going to therapy and talking about it, and, you've seen the underlying issues that, when that I probably had been addicted all these years, and, and hadn't gone, a week or whatever without betting. But I think, yeah, in the last year, I didn't think I had a problem, and I think that is the problem. And then you get, I got caught out that I was, gambling at home and things like that. And when you're forced to take responsibility,
Yes.
I think that, I can sit here and say I woke up and I was like, right, I'm going to change my life. But it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you need to lose things and lose people around you to realise you have a problem. And then I think it's only since then, and talking about it, that I've began to realise that, wow, this was a problem.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. Yeah, like you say, that you need to, awareness is the first thing, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know, you can't tackle a problem if you don't know it's a problem. And
exactly.
And I think for me, it wasn't gambling, but it was the burnout kind of working when I was doing my PhD. So when I was 22.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't know anything about mental health really, or hadn't even considered it until I kind of had to, until my hand was forced.
Yeah.
When I wanted to just take one day off, and then my body was just like, no, it just completely stopped. But at that point, I had never really spoken about how I feel.
Yeah.
And suddenly realised, looking back, how much I put all my self-worth and focus into like what I was doing, and like, I want to become a doctor and da-da-da. So, as you say, it's that when, and I probably had lost, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'd lost, say, people, but definitely I think how much time or things I'd not done, and memories I'd not made because, oh no, I can't because I need to be working, I need to be doing this, and or not allowing myself to enjoy experiences because I'm stressed about what's happening next.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to get a bit better at that. Breathing a little bit more, slowing down. So yeah, but my hand was forced, and it wasn't until I had a crisis point that I was like, okay, now I need to talk to someone. And even then, the hardest bit wasn't giving up the PhD. It was like people finding out. I was so worried about people finding out and changing their perspective of me. Yeah, exactly. Or who I am. Yeah. So it's difficult because you feel like sometimes, or even as you say to yourself, when you suddenly like think, oh, that is a problem. Yeah. And you start to like check and challenge yourself. Exactly.
But I think that's us as men, right? We wait till it's the worst point. And
unfortunately, that seems to be.
Yeah, and we, instead of coming out when it's, or asking for help when it's, a mini problem, we allow it to a breaking point. Yeah. Because we want to be brave, and we don't want to be embarrassed, basically. And
no, definitely, it's an ego thing, I think.
Yeah, 100%. For me, definitely as well. I think I think people would describe me quite outgoing, confident, and like a laugh and things like that. But I think that's with gambling, I think it's one of those addictions that you don't see. With greatest respect, you may be able to tell if someone's addicted to drugs or and alcohol stuff, I don't know enough about it to judge absolutely. But with gambling, people I've spoke to, like well-dressed individuals, like millionaires and teachers and all these high professions, and like you can't look at someone and say, right, you have a gambling problem, because it's easy to hide. Yes, which is probably one of the issues, I guess.
Yeah, and easier to hide, and then as you say, even people not knowing it's a problem. Yeah. Even if that, I guess it's and I don't know, we've never really been into it, but that experience, I guess, through the therapy that you mentioned. Yeah. And again, like, or for myself, therapy, before going into it, I had no idea what to expect. Yeah. I even, like, because I struggled massively with being like a people pleaser. Yeah. So, and that's part of my, I think, burnout, or like, I would always be trying to make sure everyone else is happy first before myself. Still, I think I still sometimes sway onto that a little bit too much. Yeah. Like, even at work, sometimes me and my boss, great man manager as well. Yeah. She always says to me, "Hans, be more selfish." Yeah. And she's like telling me, like, look, everyone in this office, she was like, there's something you could do to support everyone in this office, but you don't have to. Yeah. Almost. So, but yeah, so I almost was trying to please like the therapist early on and be like, oh, I've done this work, I've done this. Yeah. And they had to be quite blunt with me and just say, they're almost like, look, I don't care. Like, this isn't homework. Like,
no, it's about you.
it's about you. And so, but that, I guess something they maybe looked at was maybe like when did you get the urges to bet, or was it when you're in a good hindsight? Yeah. Is it when you're feeling positive and like having a good time, or was it, oh, I'm stressed, so this will give me a bit of an escape kind of thing? I don't know if that's something they touch. Obviously, it was your conversation with your therapist. This is very different. You don't have to share.
No, of course, but
details.
But I think it's like you said, it's those triggers, and I think accepting that it will always be part of my life. I'm not just gonna wake up to like I don't wake up now. I'm like, well, I'm not addicted in that sense. I've just sort of put my energy into, doing a marathon or doing the boxing or doing things like that because, and going to the gym more and, and put my time and effort into that. But yeah, like you say, it's knowing the triggers and, and if I do feel in a place where I'm stressed, I now know that I can talk to people, I can go to the gym, and it's having that sort of thing. And telling the Milton boys was a hard thing to do, because I mean, non-football, and it's not the changing rooms in non-league football, and not the softest places to be in.
No, definitely,
usually,
it's a big part of. Sorry to chat, but I know, and coming up actually in November. So by the time this has gone out, this will probably already have happened. But there's an evening being hosted at Didcot about like mental health in football.
Yeah.
And I'm quite grateful I've been asked to kind of deliver it with Restore. But I think it's definitely an area, or myself at Barks and Bucks, I'm trying to create a network of mental health ambassadors across different clubs, different areas, just trying to, because there is that kind of perspective, as you say, that image that dressing rooms aren't always, and it's difficult because it's a competitive environment.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I guess it's that understanding between, that's where the man management comes in. If you understand, if you respect that person and you're both going for the same goal, then sometimes you need that kick, sometimes you need that. Yeah. That's what you're there to do at the end of the day, to manage the team and get them to do what they're meant to be doing. But yeah, as you say, there's a lot of obviously that word banter that gets thrown around in like the dressing rooms and stigma. And so, as being in a position as manager as well, I guess opening up to the team.
Yeah, so, the vulnerability in that sense of things is never a thing. But I think, with the boys have been class, and my way of dealing with it and how they've been is I don't want things to change, so they still talk about, because football, that's one of the issues in the past is gambling's all over. Like first thing the boys would do after a win is they have a shower, they check their football bets, and it's just but I didn't want to. If I didn't feel I could handle being around that, I probably would have stepped down. My biggest thing is I didn't want things to change, so my way of dealing with it is the boys having a bit of banter with it sometimes, and that might not work for some people, but for me, that is because. They banter, but the same guys who banter me about it would be the same guys who message me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like I say, it comes to that respect, and in a way, the bantering about it or the joking, that is a way of them saying, "Look, I'm aware that you've mentioned this to us. It's a way of we're not hiding it.
Yeah,
you haven't just said it, and we're just gonna
put
it under the carpet."
Exactly that, and that's. I think some people won't be able to understand that, but anyone who's played or been around football, you'll understand that you don't want your mates to. Especially in that environment, I don't want people putting their arm around me and that, and I appreciate the texts and the lads in my class, and I think being honest with them, because I didn't feel like as points of the season last year, I didn't think I was giving my all because my focus was elsewhere.
Yes.
But they've been class, and I think it's shown how well we're doing as a group, and the group that we've kept together this year is definitely shown that.
No, definitely, and it. Almost circling back, we said almost at the start, we said about like the man management side and that part of management, and I think that all for me as well, I've had experiences with my manager opening up and being vulnerable to me, and it's almost the amount of respect that you will have gained from the group, from the club, from the players for doing that. And some of them won't even, especially like say football rights, they won't have said that to you necessarily.
Yeah, no, of course.
But the difference, especially the young lads or people who might be going through something, like. It's that kind of, if you see it, you can be it. If you can see your manager open up and being vulnerable, it just gives people permission that little bit. So, example I can think of. So and before I move on to my example, so just massive credit to you really for that.
Yeah,
that will have had a bigger impact than probably you even know.
Yeah.
Like on the players, on the young players.
Yeah.
But so my manager, we were going to have like a call, like a 1-to-1 or something, and she kind of just. And I know people, they say about managers, and one-to-one time is protected. Never give up your one-to-one time. I kind of get that. So she kind of just dropped me a line and was just like, look, can we move it back? And then she was just like, because I've had like XYZ happen. I won't share her personal thing. XYZ, and I'm just not really in the right headspace today. And rather than just saying I need to move it and the fact that she was able to say that, it almost then gives me permission to do the same.
Exactly.
And we've got quite a good relationship, even though she's CEO of Barks and Bucks FA. And there'll be some people watching this from clubs who are probably like, Barks and Bucks, they charge us. but yeah, like as a person before as a manager, she's just that's what makes you want to work for someone. And I want to perform and I want to do stuff. So I'm sure there'll be players who can relate and be like, okay, I see what Christian's like as a mate, as a guy before the football manager.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge props to you for that. And
I appreciate it.
No, for coming on and talking about it as well. And as you say, and something you did mention was Movember.
Yeah.
So yourself and is it a few others from
so
other clubs at local?
Yeah, so Jamie, he's our goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
He's done it for the last couple of years with some of his other mates, and asked me to jump on, sort of board this year. So we're doing it for mental health and prostate cancer in men, and we've had a few lads over the past couple of years that have had mates who have taken their lives. I think it's it's massive to sort of speak about it, and I think for me in the last year, probably the first one I've thought about mental health was in this last year, and my own, because like we said, it's that ego thing, like that's not really me. I'm too strong for that, but in reality, we all have problems, and I think we don't talk about it enough, and I think the horrible stats show that we don't as men talk about it. So so buzzing to do that. We're climbing the 3 peaks.
Nice.
Which would be class. I'll be missing a game, which is not ideal. But I'm looking forward to it. As I said, it's something that I need to do for myself. I like to have something to look forward to and test and challenge myself, but also for the greater cause that is Movember, which is amazing.
No, awesome. No, I love that. And what I'll do as well is, obviously I think the full episode will have happened. Yeah. So hopefully we're talking about this, they completed the challenge. I'll make sure as well, we'll just share like the links and everything if there's like a donation page or whatever.
Appreciate that.
But no, that's awesome. Yeah, and I haven't spoken too deeply with like Prescott, like Jamie, but whenever we interact, he seems like a top guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
So obviously Milton got a lot of good people around the club, and Gareth as well. Yeah. So it's a great place, and it seems like it's creating that right culture. Place that's on the up. But no, as I say, appreciate that, and you saying as well, just in that last year, kind of finding out about mental health, your own, and those conversations, and it's something that is interesting, because I think for me it was when I was a bit younger, 22, but again I just hit my crisis point came.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the age, does it? It
doesn't matter the age. It's when it happens. So for me, I'm actually, and I say this sometimes to people, that I'm really grateful it happened to me quite young.
Yeah.
But at the point where I was able to come through the other side. Yeah. Like there were times when maybe at that period I didn't necessarily want to. Yeah. Didn't necessarily think I would. But that experience at that age, now I just see, just want to increase that conversation and make sure anyone else who goes through a similar thing, just there's it's going to be tough. Like life is tough for us, challenges, but a barrier should never be the stigma or embarrassment of opening up and sharing. Yeah. And I think that's the thing I want to remove. Like, we're all going to go through stuff, but it only makes it more challenging when you feel you've got your own kind of walls up that you don't want to. Don't want to.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. And you won't mind me mentioning his name. A guy called Scott Davis.
Oh yeah, Slough manager.
Yeah. So he. I can't remember the name of his company now, but they got a company.
Epic Risk Management.
That's it. Yeah.
So I know. So yeah.
Yeah. So weirdly, he'd come in for a chat with our academy boys at the time, and they spoke about his life experiences, and I think a big thing for me is, I think he probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of his last bets, he'd put like 35 grand on something, and he's openly spoke about this, so you won't mind me saying, but and you say to yourself, I would never do that, I'd never put that amount of money on. And what I would say to people out there is, it's all relative to what you have. So when I was 17 and I was betting, say, £100 a week, I was probably earning £150 a week. Yeah. So in my my worst times, if I was a pro footballer, or and I was earning 30 grand a week, I probably would have spent that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. So when I speak to people, and I had a conversation in the gym the other day randomly with this guy who'd been betting hundreds of thousands, and I think that if you think you're not got a problem because you're betting smaller amounts, my advice would be look at how the percentage of your wage or your thing or the time that's coming out of it as opposed to the money.
No, that's so true. Yeah, if you've got more money, you've got more to play, but it's the same, isn't it? It's that disposable income. Is it income that needs to be there for mortgage, bills, family provision, and so no. But that's Scott Davies I know of quite well. Obviously, we're working at Bucks and Bucks and Ways at Slough, but also being a Wycombe fan, I think he played at Wycombe for a bit. I think it seems like incredible work what he does, and goes around and
different academies. Clubs. Yeah, it's class what he does.
Just being open, doing it alongside now managing team in National League South, and now they got into the FA Cup first round as well, so he'll be buzzing about that. So.
Yeah, they did, and I'd actually messaged him when this all started happening, and he's fair play to him because his phone's always open, and I texted him and I hadn't spoken to him for years, and he was just there for me straight away, and so I think it's people like that who put effort into people, and this if I can help someone either from this or just to chat with some of the young lads who are maybe at a point where it's not a problem yet, but just to sort of have that education to be like
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It needs to that being proactive rather than the reactive.
Exactly.
Like having the tools to deal with it if that situation ever arises, rather than having a bit of a crisis, struggling, and then learning in hindsight.
Exactly.
It's just shifting that balance a bit with guys in particular.
Yeah, 100%.
Where it often, we do need a bit of a crisis. And
we do this, and and I think once for me it was hurting people around me, my loved one and close ones. That was sort of needed to be my motivation, but like you said, unfortunately, sometimes you have to lose things around you, and if I could change things, I would, but I'm out the other side as it stands. Got a long way to go, and coming up to a year, but it would never not be. It would never not be there in my life, so I need to.
Yeah, of course.
I need to make sure I, have chats like these, and
I think that's the thing, isn't it? And that's something as well, I guess. Good advice for anyone who going through something like it's not, or understanding to those who are maybe going through an addiction or mental health struggles. It's not the kind of thing that really just disappears.
No,
but it's just ways of managing it and techniques, and that's why the conversations are. It's important having those ongoing relationships, conversations. So, as you've mentioned, like someone like Scott's a perfect example. He didn't have to get back to your message. I'm sure his phone's really busy. I'm sure
exactly.
If it's had that profound effect on you, there'll be others. But just giving time to people and showing that they're seen, respected, valued.
Exactly.
Even someone who's maybe not like a close friend, it's really cool to see the impact that's had. And as I say, there's no reason why you won't be having the same impact with like the young lads and stuff around the clubs or Precision or everywhere you've been. So, no, awesome. Appreciate it.
No worries.
I think coming towards the end, I reckon. Unless there's anything else that we haven't covered, but I think we've spoken about the football, the management, and then obviously yourself and why you wanted to come on, and I do appreciate you coming on and talking about that.
I appreciate having me. I think people like you I think if I always say like good people in football, people, from people behind the scenes at clubs, and people like yourself who do things with the kindness of your heart. The stuff you do at Didcot and in the FA and things like this. I think it should be something you should be proud of as well. And giving people like myself and other people a platform. I think it's like you said. We spoke about the November, but things like this. These are the things that continue on from things like November.
No, definitely. Keep the conversation going.
Yeah, and I think it's class. It's class what you do. So
awesome.
Props to you for that as well. Mate.
Appreciate it, Christian. Cheers. And I just want to finish with one question. If you've seen others, you might have seen it. So, gonna go with what does happiness mean to you?
Happiness. Good one. It's a good question. I think happiness for me is not going to bed. I used to go to bed with thoughts in my head and and regrets and guilt, and I think happiness for me is having a clear head. Having a clear mind, and whatever it is for you, and just not having to worry about. For me personally, like, what about the next bet, or for someone I'm hurting? It's just being clear and at peace in my brain. To be honest.
I love that. Amazing. No, similar to, I think for me, my answer would be peace of mind as well. So
Yeah.
I love that. So can relate 100%.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely been times where that's not been the case, and my mind's
Yeah.
been firing and almost not wanting to go to sleep because I feel like I should be doing the next day's thing already.
Yeah.
So yeah, peace of mind and awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christian.
No worries at all.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Good
having
luck
me.
for the rest of the season as
Yeah,
well.
thank you. Hopefully, hopefully,
Hopefully another promotion at this.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll.
Got to keep that 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Two years, two promotions. Imagine that. No, as long as I'm still enjoying it, the boys are enjoying it, then
Yeah.
we'll just see what happens. See where the year takes us.
Perfect. Cheers.
Spot on, mate.
Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation. I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like and subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, but also if you head over to Instagram and give me a follow at Cappuccino. This is the best place to contact me, but also see the latest developments on the platform as we look to increase awareness of mental health through my passions for coffee and football. In addition, if you've heard something that you can relate to or you want to talk about a little bit more, feel free to message me on that platform. But also, if you fancy coming on yourself and having a conversation, then do let me know, because I'm always keen to connect with new people and get insights into other areas and other passions and other challenges that I might have no experience of myself. Thanks again, and I really hope you tune in for the next episode. Take care of yourselves. I've been Hans. Thank you.